Yo, I want to talk about this movie called Warfare. It's by Alex Garland. I didn't even hear of it until today. And then I watched it. Remember last year when he had Civil War and it was such a big thing and then it was kind of a letdown, kind of. But it made a lot of money. But I never even heard of this until now when I just watched it. And I gotta wonder, what is going on in this movie? What are they doing? What is this supposed to be? You know, it's supposed to be a real-time movie of an event that happened in the year 2006 in Iraq with this team of troops in Iraq. And it's supposed to be like they're not glorified or whatever, and it's based on the guy's memories, and it's co-directed by Alex Garland and one of the troops in the film. And at the end of the film, we get to see the one guy that I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but you get to see the one guy come back, and we get to see pictures of the actor versus the real guy, and we get to see some of the sets. And this movie is supposed to be real, okay? The movie's supposed to be real. This isn't the Green Berets. This isn't Apocalypse Now. This isn't Platoon. This isn't Full Metal Jacket. This movie is supposed to be real. Like you're in it with them. And that's all you get is the raw emotion, the raw action, the pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pow, the ah. That's all you get. You don't get no heroism because you know what? There was no heroism in this war. All right? This war in Iraq was illegal, immoral, and everything else that you can say bad about it. It was based on false information. It was based on a lie that Saddam had yellow cake, uranium, that Saddam had anything to do with 9/11. It's all based on a lie. And we're supposed to watch this movie and watch these people's stories. And what? It's practically a snuff film. It's practically a gore film. And I've seen enough of those. You know, there's nothing entertaining about this film. Though it is a well-directed, well-acted film, it's supposed to not be a film. It's supposed to be real. It's supposed to get you in it with them in this war that's illegal. And you know what? These guys think they're heroes. They think they're not heroes. They took part in an illegal war that they shouldn't have been a part of, that shouldn't have happened. And it is mind-blowing and blood-boiling to watch this movie because it's not a movie. You know, Apocalypse Now is a movie. This is something else entirely. It's more than propaganda. I mean, it's not really even propaganda. You know, it's not trying to glorify the war. It's just trying to tell a story. And maybe it's trying to get the reaction I'm having, which is like the Iraq War of 2003 to when did it end? 2011 or so, maybe a little later, was not just a debacle, but an illegal, unconstitutional, ridiculous, unfounded, unsound, just not something that ever should have happened. And you know, I know everybody that fought in that war is like thinks they're I can't say that, thinks that they're a hero, but you know, they're just part of the meat grinder. And this movie shows the meat grinding part, because some of these guys, their meat gets grinded. And I cannot say I like this movie, because how can you say that? You know, you're watching these guys, real thing happen. How can you say, yeah, I like that? I like that happened to you. No, I don't like that happened to these guys. Sure, it's acted fine and all, directed fine and all that stuff, but I don't like that it happened to these guys. I cannot watch this movie and say, yeah, that was a pretty good movie. Ugh. No. This is some kind of new genre. That I think there's a few movies before this. I can't remember them, but where you're supposed to be taking part of the action. You, the viewer, are not just the viewer. You're taking part in the action. And this movie is trying to do that, and I think it succeeds pretty well. You know, I think it succeeds pretty well in that part. I have not read anything about this. I don't know anything about this movie except that it's directed by Alex Garland and by one of these troop members. Apparently, there was no campaign for this. There was no trailers. If there were trailers or a campaign, I didn't know about it. I never heard of it until today, until I watched it. But this is some kind of new thing where you're supposed to be part of the movie. You're not just a viewer taken back. You're supposed to be embedded with these guys. And you're supposed to feel with them. And you're supposed to be there. And you know what? I just wish that war had never happened. But the powers that be, the powers that run this world, hopefully the dudes that were involved in this ridiculous, inessential, unnecessary conflict, hopefully they grow up and understand that they were part of the meat grinder and the government doesn't care about them. Look at this guy. He's sniping. He's trying to snipe somebody. And why? He's going to go back home to Ohio or wherever and play with his kids. Who cares if he snipes somebody? That had nothing to do with 9/11. There's no uranium yellow cake. It was all based on a lie. And this video is too long. The movie... How can you say, watch this movie? I mean, it's a movie. It's warfare. Check it out.